Greetings YouTube and welcome to episode 24 of the 4,000 question challenge. 24, yes, 24. Okay. What one subject you wish you had studied in school? Languages, I never did. What word would you not want to spell in a spelling bee? Well, seeing as I spell horribly, probably any word above about 8 or 10 letters. But I might be even stumped on something as small as subtle. The English language has some aspects to it that, even though I have read extensively about the history of the English language, still make no sense to me. Were you a serious student or did you play too much? Again, I rode around on my native intelligence until that petered out, and then I had not acquired any actual educational skills, so I did abysmal. So that's a little more complex answer than I think that question wanted, but that's what it is. Talk about grades and report cards. Why? Though I think I might actually have a report card somewhere kicking around. One thing about report cards which I found fascinating and my mother found continually frustrating is that my parents got divorced in '78, which is when I was a freshman, I think. Yeah, this is 8th grade, freshman year, that kind of thing. And my mother wanted to have the schools legally list her as the parent slash guardian because my father was the secretary in that particular regard. And it took her like 3 years to get the school to finally realize that yes, this is a real thing and that she has the right to have that listed there, because my father's name just kept showing up on the report cards. Boy, did that piss her off. Is the aim of schooling to teach how to think or teach certain skills and facts? Yes. We need to teach students the process of critical thinking, because I think far too many parents have failed miserably at that regard. But also there are certain skills and facts that need to be conveyed to the student. So it's not a clean answer. It's not an either or. It's a yes. Did you prepare thoroughly for tests? Heck no. What is the most important skill to have in childhood? Most important skill. Focus. What is the most difficult thing in life is learning blank. That is going to be highly individualistic, I guess. Most difficult thing in life to learn? I'll go with math, because that was my answer. Should music be part of a well-rounded education? Sure as shootin' should. What historical document or part of one do you think every American should know by heart? Well, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And I'm not saying you need to know every bloody word, but I think you need to understand its historical context and how it is a living document. Because I'm a firm believer that the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights are living documents. They are not carved in stone. They are not meant to be holy texts. They are meant to be living, breathing documents that help benefit the people and not just the 1%, and not just the dominant religious group, and not just the dominant racial group, and not just the dominant gender or the dominant sexual orientation. They need to benefit everybody, and they don't in practice. Doesn't matter what our ideals are. Doesn't matter what is written down on paper. In the 18th and 19th century, what matters is that we actually make sure that everybody gets equality of outcome. And we are really bad at that, because the white, straight, Christian men, cisgender men, I should add, who wrote all of this stuff, didn't care about anybody else. And remember, when we finally established a governmental structure, the only people that could vote were white Christian men. It was was just assumed they'd be cisgender and straight. So they actually, even only the wealthy ones, the poor ones, couldn't even vote. You had to be worth a certain amount of money before you could vote. That was eventually changed because they needed the power base, the base to support them, and that was the only way the base was going to sign on to that. Which is interesting, is that you establish the rules and make an elite, and then you change the rules so that the people who are now considered part of that elite feel they've gained something when they should have had this from the beginning. And it made all the white men feel very powerful. So yeah, so there you go on that answer. So I hope you've enjoyed episode 24 of the 4,000 question challenge. Some of these are turning out to be a little more philosophical than I thought they might have been.